Alarming news emerging from social media companies today about the CAPS pandemic. Twitter and Facebook are reporting they've identified and deleted a disturbing number of accounts dedicated to spreading disinformation about the outbreak. For more on this, we go to our correspondent, Catalina Parks.
Chen, these accounts were created by several state-sponsored groups intending to sow political discord, and some individuals are seemingly seeking to gain financial advantages. Violence against healthcare workers and minority populations has been increasing. A recent riot highlights the real danger in these posts. Countries are reacting in different ways as to how best to manage the overwhelming amounts of dis and misinformation circulating over the internet. In some cases, limited internet shutdowns are being implemented to quell panic.
Thank you, Catalina.
More governments are kicking people off the internet than ever before. It usually happens during politically sensitive times like elections, protests, and conflicts. Last year, governments shut down the internet more frequently than in previous years, according to a digital rights group that started tracking the practice in 2011. For instance, in India, it happened in parts of the country more than 100 times. Authorities say shutdowns help stop unrest and the spread of fake news, and even prevent cheating on school exams. Advocates for an open internet say shutdowns can cripple economies and disrupt daily life, all while curtailing civil rights.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
All right, everybody, June 2nd, 2021, another day in Clown World and yet another false flag, which will then support the false narrative that we're going to have a cyber attack and blah, 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 which it's all just one big thing they're going to do to take the grid down and blame it on Russia, blame it on, China, Iran, whatever boogeyman suits them, right? But we know it's all Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. That's all this is, bringing in the New World Order, and the next step is a cyber attack, right? Quote unquote. A ransomware attack on the Steamship Authority of Massachusetts hampered operations Wednesday morning. The largest ferry service to the islands of Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, the Steamship Authority issued a statement warning that traveling customers may be delayed as a result. A team of IT professionals, in quotes, is working to assess the impact of the cyber attack. According to the authority, no further information was immediately available. The Woods Hole, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket Steamship Authority has been the target of a ransomware attack that is affecting operations as of Wednesday morning. As a result, customers traveling may experience delays. Right, so this is just one in the many false flags we're seeing and will continue to see until they do the big one. Whether that will be before or after Cyber Polygon takes place next month is yet to be seen, but we know that that's the case, right? And when we have this U.S. meatpacking plant basically, saying they were hit with a crippling cyber attack, it's not true, obviously. Bill Gates and all these companies are saying they want to get you off meat. They want to push the faux meat, the pseudo meat that they produce in labs, which they have investments in, and they're going to stop farming basically altogether so they can control the food supply, which in turn controls the people, right? You're seeing massive droughts right now in a lot of parts of the world, and that's because basically they can use weather to control, where it rains and where it doesn't. We know that, Weather is a force multiplier, owning the weather by 2025, research paper put out in 1996 by the U.S. Air Force. So we know they can control the weather. That's not even a conspiracy theory, right? It's fact. They did it in Vietnam. Look up the Operation, I think it was Operation Popeye, right? Where they seeded clouds to flood the Viet Cong out of their little tunnels. So to tell me that they don't do that is just nonsense. We know they do that. And cyber attacks is the next big thing, which is going to kill millions and millions of people, right? So meat processing factories in the U.S., run by the world's largest company in that field, are coming back on stream on Wednesday after a ransomware attack, as experts warned all corporate and local government leaders to be on the alert. A cyber attack on the meat processor JBS had forced it to halt all U.S. operations while it scrambled to restore functionality. The attack, like other recent hacks, is believed to have originated in Russia. Ooh! JBS, which supplies more than a fifth of all beef in America, said all of its U.S. beef plants were pushed offline on Sunday. The ransomware attack on the Brazilian headquartered company network also disrupted other operations across the U.S., as well as the company's businesses in other countries, including Australia, but less severely, right? So you're going to keep seeing this stuff, and it's not real. You should know that by now. I played the video at the beginning of Klaus Schwab basically telling you what they're going to do, because that's the next step, right? And in Event 201, when they did the simulation, they made those videos that you saw, where basically, how can we combat misinformation? Oh, maybe we could shut the internet down. You know what I mean? What I think they're going to do is they're going to take the entire internet down, right? Most of the infrastructure of which is located in the United States, by the way. They're going to take all of it down, and then when they bring it back up, you'll probably have to have a government-approved ID just to get online, where everything will be tied to you, because they were talking. Remember, Mozilla came out and said that they should use your internet browsing history, basically attaching to your credit report or credit score, you know what I mean, to determine if you're a trustworthy person, right? A lot of people probably would be disqualified as a trustworthy person just for their porn habits, most likely, you know? But either way, the whole thing is stupid. It's just meant to, push the whole meme that you won't have privacy, you will accept being monitored, I own nothing and I'm happy type of thing. 2030 Agenda 21 nonsense. And this article right here is from Christians for Truth. This came out May of last year. And it says, top Israeli spook warns of coming cyber winter as Mossad plots new false flag hack attack. And we know who is behind pretty much all of these things. We know it's ultimately the Rothschilds, through Vanguard and BlackRock and things like that, owning pretty much everything. And then Israel and the Mossad is basically just their little country they have where they set up their operations and take out all their enemies. So using the U.S. is one of the biggest pawns to do that. The head of Israel's National Cyber Directorate said Thursday that following a recent Iranian cyber attack on the Jewish state's water system, it was clear that the cyber winter, we keep hearing that, cyber winter, dark winter, right, is coming and coming faster than ever I suspected. Israel's Channel 13 reported that Director General Yigal Una, if that's how you say his name, Una, speaking to a virtual conference held by the Israeli platform Cybertech, said, "We will remember this last month, May 2020, as a changing point in the history of modern cyber warfare." Referring to the Iranian cyber attack last month, which was contained by Israeli countermeasures, Una said, if it had been successful, and fortunately we managed to foil it, right? Make ourselves look good. They created the threat in the first place because it's not real. But if the bad guys had succeeded in their plot, we would be now facing, in the middle of the corona crisis, very big damage to the civilian population, including interruption in the water supply and chemical contamination. So they're basically telling you what they're going to do. He noted that the attack was also unique in that it was not criminal, but rather a military-style assault on essential civilian infrastructure. Israel, he said, believed that if this represented a paradigm shift for which it must prepare, a paradigm shift, right? A crisis which must be taken advantage of, right? And they must do it quick before the crisis eludes them. We are now waiting for the next phase to come, Una said, and it will come eventually. I'm afraid that the attack is only the first major sign of a new era of attacks aiming at humanitarian targets, right? So this is the plan, guys. You got Klaus Schwab, douchebag in general, saying it right to your face, what they're going to do. Get prepared for it because it's coming. I don't know if it's going to be this summer, if it's going to be this winter, but if the internet and everything goes down, you need to have food, water, guns, ammo, medicine. You need to be networking with like-minded people. You need to be ready to possibly kill people who are going to try to kill you if they didn't prepare. Mindless, zombified retards who took the quote-unquote vaccine and are now running around like, basically zombies. I don't know if they're going to turn on 5G and that's going to activate it. Who knows? With everything going on right now, there's so many rumors about the magnets sticking to arms and things like that. Who knows? Maybe 5G will actually activate a sort of, beacon, near their pineal gland where the nanotech got stored with the vaccine or the nasal swab, or who knows? There's just so many competing theories out there. There's the whole shedding thing. So you might get the spike protein even if you didn't get vaccinated. I don't know. But what I do know is they're going to take the power down. However they say it's going to happen isn't true. Things like this that happened today in Massachusetts is just one of many things you're going to see. Probably going to hear more by week's end, right? But just remember, they're going to do it, and they're not going to care what happens to you. Remember, Klaus Schwab said it's going to make coronavirus look like a minor disturbance. That should scare the ever-living shit out of you, because that pretty much devastated the global economy, which was the point, right? Destroy the current world order and economy to bring in the new. That's all it is. So get ready for GovCoin too when they bring things back online, because I don't think they're going to allow people to have crypto. Most likely, it's probably going to be only government-approved, currency systems, because as we know, COVID, is spread via cash and things like that. So it will all be digital, and it's just a whole lot to swallow. But be ready, guys. It's coming.